DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that's called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is be the general and the soldier. Yes, you're going to be both at the same time. Before we get into this, I'll remind you of two things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation text messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do to be getting these is to be part of my texting community. It is free to join. Yes, free. All you got to do is text me at my number, 305-384-6894. Once we start sending those messages out again, you'll be getting them straight to your phone. Just send me that text right now. And when we start going again, you'll be getting a message from our bot letting you know the messages are coming, and then they'll be coming right after that. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. You'll like to work with me directly and with people who are top 2% performers of what they do. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see more about our program, what we do, who we're working with, and how we can help you. Sounds good to you, you can schedule a time to get on a call with us so we can talk about where you're at, where you want to go, what you feel like might be in your way. And if we feel like we can help you, and we feel you'd be a good fit, then we'll tell you where we go from there. But it's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. That out the way, let's get into the topic, which is be the general and the soldier. Now, I heard this guy named Jocko Willink. Some of you may have heard of Jocko. He's an author. He's also a former Navy SEAL. I heard him say this in a conversation he was having where he was talking about discipline, which is a topic that I talk about a lot. If you haven't read my book on discipline, it is called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. It's actually more than discipline, but discipline is a central theme of that book. Also my book, The Mirror of Motivation. You can get that at thirddaybook.com, by the way. Free copy. All you got to do is cover the shipping. Anyway, I heard Jocko talking about discipline, and he mentioned this whole concept of being the general and the soldier. And he and I are very aligned when it comes to anything involving this concept of discipline. He talks about it as well. And this point was a really good one that I decided to borrow and expand on in my own way. So thanks to Jocko for planting the seed for what this episode is going to be. So this is all about self-discipline and self-accountability. I don't really need to explain this any further. All of you know what those terms mean. Now let's get into how you can actually do this and why you should be doing this for and to yourself on a daily basis. Point number one. Topic once again is be the general and the soldier. Everybody understands the general and the soldier, right? General is a person at the head of the army, and the soldier is a person who is a member of the rank and file, and the general can tell the soldier what to do. The soldier basically has to follow all orders, basically respect the chain of command. The general is above the soldier, so anything the general tells the soldier to do, the soldier has to do it without question, without complaint, and without hesitation. All right, so everybody got that part? All right, point number one. Topic once again, be the general and the soldier. Number one, respect the rules. Respect the rules. I just explained to you the rules so that you get it. All right, when you're in an army, I don't have any military experience, but I generally understand this, that when you're a soldier in the army, if the general tells you to do something, you respect the chain of command and you do what you are told. Doesn't matter if you agree with it, doesn't matter if you don't like it, doesn't matter if you don't feel like it, you do it immediately, without question, and without complaint. Now, if I just stopped the episode right there and just ended it right here, this would be a 3-minute episode. I'm telling you the essence of what you need to get here, but I'm going to explain this a little bit further because maybe throwing out different little pieces here might touch different people in different ways. Respecting the rules is you understand the chain of command. Now, what's today's topic? You're the general and the soldier. So if the chain of command says you're the general, which means anything you say to a soldier, the soldier must follow immediately, without questioning it and without delay, and you're also the soldier, that means anything you tell yourself to do, you do it immediately. You don't question it, you don't delay, and there is no feedback. It just gets done. Now I'm leaving 5 seconds of space there because I wanted that thought to sink in. Can you do this? You tell yourself what to do, and then you do it. Wow, that's amazing. Let me say it again. You tell yourself what to do, and then you do it. No questioning, no delay, no hesitation, no negotiation. Can you do this? Now again, I haven't been in the military, so any of you who's been in the military, if I got this part wrong, please send me a message and correct me. My basic level of understanding is that when the general tells the soldier what to do, that's it. No back and forth, no question, no negotiation. Everyone respects the chain of command. Everybody understands what a direct order is, right? Okay, even if you haven't been in the military, everybody gets what I'm saying here, right? I'm not going over anybody's head with this, am I? Okay, so when the general tells you what to do, you do it. So if you're the general and you give the soldier a direct order, there is no discussion. There's no conversation, which means when you tell yourself what to do, there should be no gap of time in between telling yourself what needs to be done and that thing actually being done. If you apply that to your life starting today, let me ask you a question. How much different will your life be a week from now? How much different will your life be a year from now, a decade from now? The biggest challenge many people have is being able to move themselves to action. Biggest challenge you have is moving yourself to action, moving yourself to actually do something. Now, some people hear that and they say, well, Dre, you know what? I don't have a problem moving myself to action, which is generally bullshit. But what they'll say is their reasoning is, the reason I'm not moving myself to action is I just don't know what to do. Well, let me help you out with that one. If you believe you don't have a problem moving yourself to action, but the problem is you don't know which action to take, then the action you should be taking is going and talking to someone who does know what action you should be taking. So you should be immediately moving to do that. If you don't know exactly what to do, you should be moving to go find someone who does know what to do so that you can stop bullshitting around talking about you don't know what to do. See, there's always an action you can take. There's always something you can do, ladies and gentlemen. There's never an excuse to just do nothing because you don't know what to do. It's bullshit. You can always do something. Any personal development individual you talk to, anybody who talks about personal development on any level, male, female, young, old, whatever, whether you're listening to them, talking to them, or reading them, at some point will touch on this reality. We all language it in different ways, but we all get to the essence of this point. If you can move yourself to actually do stuff, you will get more things done and you will have a more fulfilling life. I'm going to guess. I think most of us, in order to have a more fulfilling life, there's certain things we need to get done that ain't done yet. Would you agree? All right, this is one of the big differences to separate the successful from the unsuccessful. Your ability to move yourself to action. Can you do it? That is a rhetorical question from me to you. It is not a rhetorical question from you to you. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is be the general and the soldier. Number 2, accept no excuses, tardiness, or half-assed outputs. Point number 2, accept no excuses, tardiness, or half-assed outputs. Everyone knows what an excuse is, meaning something didn't get done and you have a story as to why. Tardiness, meaning doing things later and not now. And half-ass outputs, meaning you did it, but you didn't do it all the way. All right, these are unacceptable, all 3. Unacceptable, unacceptable, unacceptable. I use the word standards when I talk about this concept a lot. And let me refer you to a couple episodes here from this show. And by the way, every episode that I ever bring up here, you can listen to by going to workonyourgamepodcast.com. Episode number 2146, your unacceptable list. Episode number 2122, how to identify and eliminate the unacceptable. What are the things that are just unacceptable for you? And when we talk about standards, talked about it at episode number 2097, standards still matter. In episode 1974, standards are the enemy of mediocrity. Episode 1331, never lower the bar of standards. Episode 1026, your standard is the best you can do. Episode 2668, what standards are you willing to set? So as you can see, we talk about this stuff all the time. When you set a standard for yourself, there are no exceptions. There are no exceptions to a standard. There are exceptions to a wish. There are exceptions to a hope. There are exceptions to a request. There are no exceptions to a standard. There are no aberrations, meaning there is no time that something is not quite the way it's supposed to be if something is a standard. Now, if it's a desire, there are aberrations, but a standard, there are none. Nothing less than a standard is accepted. That's what a standard means. That's the very definition of the term, that you set a bar and anything below this bar is not allowed. It is not accepted. It will not be tolerated. That's what a standard means. The challenge for many people is that you are unwilling to set and adhere to standards placed on yourself. It's not that you can't do it. Everybody understands the concept. I think I'm pretty good at explaining things. Everybody understands the concept. Most people are simply not willing to put that type of burden on yourself. You're not willing to put that guillotine above your neck and hold yourself to that standard. Why? Because it forces you to move yourself to action, and a lot of people simply don't want to do that. That's just the reality. That's the situation. Many people are unwilling to set and adhere to standards for themselves, and standards require discipline. Discipline requires you doing stuff that you don't really feel like doing when you need to do it anyway. That's what discipline's about. Discipline is a byproduct of upheld standards. Everybody heard that? Discipline is a byproduct of set and upheld standards. And I want that one to sink in. Again, I have not been in the military, but I would assume that if a general tells a soldier to do something and the soldier fails to execute properly or in a timely fashion, that there are harsh penalties that that soldier will face for not doing their job, which is following direct orders. Your opinion does not matter. The job is to follow a direct order. And if you don't do that, there's a penalty, I would assume. Anybody's been in the military, you can fill in the gap of what that penalty is, but I'm assuming there is one. All right, that's what a standard is. And the reason people live up to standards is because they don't want to deal with the consequence of not living up to the standard. So most of the time, when a soldier's told what to do, they do exactly what they're told, and they don't screw up, they don't hesitate, and they don't half-ass the job. So let me ask you a question. How often do you tell yourself to do something, not do it, or halfway do it, or take too long to actually start doing it, and then let yourself off the hook for your own non-compliance? It's a good question. Let me ask it again, just in case you want to write it down. How often do you tell yourself what to do, and then either don't do it at all, or you do it slowly, or you do it too late, or you half-ass it, meaning you kind of do half of it, but not all of it, and then you let yourself off the hook for your own non-compliance? How often does that happen? Remember, I was on the phone talking to a well-known influencer. You would know this guy's name. I'm not going to say his name. I remember I was talking to him on the phone a couple of years ago. We were going to do some stuff together. And I remember when I was talking to his assistant first, and then his assistant said, "I'm gonna get this guy on the phone." And they got the guy on the phone. He comes on the phone. And I said, "Hey, person, how you doing?" He said, "Man, I was just talking to somebody on my team. These people are only doing 40% of what I'm asking them to do." He was kind of lamenting to me that his people on his team are not following through on his orders, his direct orders. Now, I don't think he was calling them orders, but he was giving people assignments and they just weren't following through on the tasks. It just got me thinking about that while I'm saying this here right now. My question to you is, how often are you following through on the things you tell yourself to do? Are you respecting yourself as a general? Because you see a general in an army who tells a soldier what to do, and the soldier doesn't do it, and then the general doesn't do anything, and it's just tolerated. Well, you ain't really a general. Fact of the matter, that's just a situation. So how often are you letting yourself off the hook for non-compliance to your own rules, your own standards, and your own orders? How much respect are you showing yourself when you don't follow through on your own orders? That's really what this comes down to. How much respect do you have for yourself and the things that you tell you to do? Understand, every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and don't do it, your subconscious mind understands exactly what's happening, and it doesn't care the story as to why you didn't do it. So I repeat that. Every time you tell yourself to do something and don't do it, your subconscious mind understands exactly what happened, and it doesn't care why it happened. It just knows that it happened. I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to somebody and I'm pointing out to them what happened, and they start explaining to me why it happened. And I don't give a fuck why it happened. I'm not asking you why it happened. I'm telling you that it happened. The point is, it shouldn't have happened. I don't care what the reason is. It shouldn't happen. That's the point. See, that's about standards, folks. And I understand there are all these circumstances that cause the situation to happen. I know, I get it. And guess what? Same circumstances that may affect you, similar circumstances affect everybody else on the planet, including myself. The thing is, when you have standards for yourself, the circumstance is not more important than the standard, than the upholding of the standard. That's the discipline. That's the mentality. Question is, are you willing to put that in place in your own life? Are you willing to put that on yourself? That's the question. And see, all that matters is that you told yourself you would do something and didn't do it. That's what matters. And you know what the subconscious mind takes from that? That means that the word that you give yourself means nothing, because you will easily not follow it. That's what you're telling your subconscious mind. You tell your subconscious, I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it. The subconscious understands that every time you tell yourself you're going to do something, it doesn't really mean you're going to do it. You're just talking. You're not actually going to do it. So what that means is you trust yourself a little bit less, You don't believe in yourself as much. Your belief goes down a little bit more. And every time you do it, it gets less, less, and less. And you know what that affects overall? That affects your confidence. See, when you don't trust yourself, you're not confident. That's what confidence is. Confidence is belief in your ability to do something. If you don't believe in yourself, because every time you tell yourself you're going to do something, you don't do it, well, you're not going to be very confident. And guess what? Other people can read when you lack confidence. You see how all these pieces connect? This is how all this stuff happens. And can you see how all of this can be bleeding into the results or the lack of results that you are getting or not getting when dealing with other people or even dealing with yourself? See, all the puzzle pieces fit together, folks. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is be the general and the soldier. Number 3, remember that you cannot demand anything of others which you are not willing to demand of yourself. You cannot demand anything of others which you are not willing to demand of yourself. Why? Because this will put you out of integrity. What does integrity mean? Integrity means, by definition, firm adherence to a code, especially of moral or artistic values, or the state of being complete or undivided. And so let's go with that. That second part of the definition is the part I want you to get, being complete and undivided. What it means is integrity is the things that you are telling yourself in your mind, you are living externally. Things that you're telling yourself internally, you are living them externally. In other words, the person you present yourself to be to the outside world is exactly who you are on your inside world. That's integrity. And when you are out of integrity, then you are not in position to hold anyone else accountable or hold anyone else to a standard. That's the problem. That's the problem when your integrity is off. And the only person who really knows when your integrity is off is you. See, nobody else can really know because nobody else knows your internal conversation. Only you know. So even someone like myself who works as a coach and works with top level performers and helps people perform at a higher level, you still had to have a certain level of integrity with yourself in order for someone like myself to be able to help you. Because if you don't have integrity with yourself, nothing that I say is going to get through because you don't listen to you. So even once I say it, you still got to take it and say it to yourself. And if you don't listen to you, then nothing I tell you is going to help you get to where you want to be. And let me be clear here. I want to throw in this disclaimer because a lot of times when I say something like that, sometimes I hear people say, even when I don't say that, I hear people say something like, well, you know what, you're right, Dre, because I don't think I'm going to listen to myself. So you know what, maybe I should just do nothing. Bullshit. Let me do nothing until I get my integrity right. And when my integrity is right, then I'll come back around and I'll actually get some help from somebody else. No, don't do that. See, you've been telling yourself that. See, that right there is the reason why your integrity is off. That you keep giving yourself the excuse, well, maybe I'll get around to this later. Maybe I'll do it when I get some more time. Maybe I'll do it when I get around to it. Bullshit. No. The whole point is, and I talked about this in the previous episode. Let me find that episode. That was episode 2248. I talked about putting pressure on yourself. Episode 2705, why you need pressure, anxiety, and stress in your life. You need to put pressure on yourself. If you don't put pressure on yourself, you're not going to perform at your highest level. All right? You need pressure. Pressure is a good thing. Pressure is not something to run away from. Anxiety and stress are not things to run away from. You need them if you want to get yourself out of the sleepwalk you've been in and move yourself into the level that you say that you want to be at. You can't get there comfortably. That's not the point. You can't get there comfortably. In case any of you thought that you could, no. When you give yourself a direct order, you must follow through on your orders immediately, fully, and with no pushback. When you have that level of integrity with yourself, other people can feel that integrity in you. They can feel it emanating from you without even speaking to you. They don't even have to know you. There's just something about you. You ever been around somebody that just had that presence? There's something about this person. You don't even know what it is. You don't even know who they are. You just feel it on them. Okay, you can be that person. You can be that person. First step is you got to stop bullshitting yourself. Stop disrespecting yourself. And when you tell yourself to do stuff, stop telling yourself you'll do it later or that you don't feel like it or you do half of it and say it's okay, I'll get to it tomorrow. Bullshit. Would you do that if you were in the army and a general told you to do something? I don't think so. Because you don't want to deal with what comes on the other side of not following an order. So can you show yourself that kind of respect? And see, when you have that level of respect with yourself and other people can feel that energy coming off of you, guess what it leads to? It leads to them wanting to listen to everything that you tell them to do. Why? Because they can tell that you do it to yourself. Therefore, they respect the fact when you tell them to do it, they'll do it. Like, all right, well, everything she's telling me, she does. So you know what? I'm going to do it. But see, if they sense that you don't do that, they're not going to listen to you either. Same way you don't listen to you, they ain't gonna listen to you. See, if you have trouble getting other people to listen to you, let me tell you what the problem is. It's not them. It's not that they're a bad person or they're disrespectful or a misbehaving child or any of those things. Even though they might be that, that's not the reason. That's not the real reason why they're not listening to you. They're not listening to you because they can sense that you don't listen to you. That's why they ain't listening. And then when you try to tell somebody something, there's no real energy behind it because you don't believe it, because you can't even tell yourself to do stuff. So how are you going to tell somebody else to do something? So if your kids are not listening to you, it's not because they're bad kids, it's because you don't listen to you. So why should your kids listen to you? They can read you. All right, they can tell. Now, they can tell you're bullshitting with yourself. Therefore, they believe you're bullshitting with them, even though you might not be. You get what I'm saying here? See, when you're in integrity with yourself, then it's very easy to get other people to respect your word because you respect your word. People can feel this energy. And I want y'all to understand, this is not some woo-woo shit that I'm talking here. This is real. There's a real magnetic wave of energy. This is a literal scientific thing. There's a magnetic wave of energy coming off of every single one of us. It is coming out of us, and we are taking those magnetic waves of energy in. This is how you can be in sync with a person who you just met 5 minutes ago, because you two happen to be on the same energetic wavelength. And how you can be completely out of sync with somebody who you've known for 10 years, because in that moment, you and that person are just not on the same magnetic, energetic wavelength. This is a real thing. All of you have felt this before, right? Okay, it's real. This is not something that we're just making up. So when you're out of integrity with yourself, other people can sense that. You don't have to tell them. They can sense it. They can see it. They can feel it. And when you are in integrity with yourself, people can sense that too. This is when you're kind of like hitting on all cylinders and everything just seems to be working for you. There's a reason for that. That's not some random luck phenomenon. When people know that you comply with yourself, again, they can sense it. They will comply with you. When people sense that you don't follow your own orders, they won't follow your orders, or it'll be more difficult to get them to follow your orders. You might have to struggle and strive to get them to listen to you because your confidence is not there. And again, even if people can't verbalize this, I'm verbalizing it. Most people could not explain what I just explained to you, but they are acting out what I'm explaining to you, even though they couldn't tell you in so many words. I'm here to translate it for you. I'm here to translate what you're seeing into helping you understand why it's happening. And of course, most importantly, for you to do something about it. That's the point. Let me recap today's class, which is be the general and the soldier. I would suggest those of you who, this is an episode you should listen to 3 or 4 or 5 times over and over. Don't even listen to the next episode yet. Listen to this one again, over and over again, a few times until these messages really implant themselves into your brain, because this is important. Every episode I put out is important, but this one is extremely important because this is one of the biggest challenges I see with people who have plenty of potential, but they are not producing the output simply because, again, not because of a lack of these surface level things most people talk about, like time, energy, and information. Not energy, time, information, and resources. That's not the issue. Anyway, be the general and the soldier. Number 1, respect your rules. When you tell yourself what to do, you do it. Again, I ain't been in the military, but I think when a general tells a soldier what to do, there's no back and forth. There's no negotiation. You do it immediately. You do it fully. You do it exactly as you were told, or there's going to be a penalty. And if you respect that penalty, you'll get the shit done. Number 2, accept no excuses, tardiness, or half-assed outputs. Again, if you have a boss at work, you can't just give excuses for not doing your job. You can't be late every time. You can't give a half-assed output every time. Not at a high-level job, you can't, because other people want your job and you'll be fired. Question, do you hold yourself to that standard? If the answer is no, you need to fix that. And number 3, remember that you cannot demand anything of others that you do not demand of yourself. Again, we all have magnetic waves of energy coming out of us. When you are out of integrity with yourself, meaning you tell yourself to do stuff and you don't do it, other people can sense that energy coming off of you, even though you don't say anything about it. People can tell that you are bullshitting yourself. Therefore, when you tell them to do something, they are not complying with you fully or quickly or immediately or the way that you want them to, because you are out of integrity with yourself. No matter what you're showing on the outside, it's hard to hide that when you're out of integrity, folks. You got to be in integrity with yourself in order to have other people follow you and connect with your energy. This is a real thing. This is a scientific thing. And if you want to understand why you seem to be out of sync, or people seem to be out of sync with you, even though you're telling them exactly what you want done and how you want it done, this is the reason why. Check yourself first. Check the person in the mirror. Remember, leaders look in the mirror, followers look out the window. Which one are you? All that said, folks, text me, see you in my community. My number's down below in the description. Next, work on your game university. All right, if you want to work with me directly on these things that we're talking about here and get this stuff in order so that we can then move on to the action steps of doing your business and life stuff that needs to be done, systematizing it so we can do it over and over and over again and make sure everything and everyone is held accountable for full implementation, for performance, consistency, and results, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all